As regards media law, the fundamental law is contained in Article 19(1)(a) of the Indian Constitution. That does not speak specifically of freedom of the press or freedom of the other media. That speaks of freedom of speech and expression. But by judicial interpretation by the Supreme Court, freedom of the media has been included in the expression freedom of speech and expression. So although our constitution does not specifically mention freedom of press and the media, but by judicial interpretation that has been included. Unlike in the United States, where in the US Constitution there is specific mention of freedom of the press. But the effect is the same, because by judicial interpretation, freedom of press and the media has been included in freedom of speech and expression, which is a fundamental right under Article 19(1)(a) of the Constitution. However, Article 19(2) states that the state can place reasonable restrictions on this right of freedom of speech and expression, and therefore the right of the freedom of the media. In the interest of state sovereignty and integrity, for the security of the state, for friendly relations with foreign states, for public order, decency or morality, or in relation to the law of contempt of court, defamation or incitement to an offence. So the freedom of media is not absolute. It is subject to reasonable restrictions which are mentioned in Article 19, Clause 2 of the Indian Constitution. No freedom can be absolute. Every freedom has to be subject to reasonable restrictions. I was a lawyer for 20 years. It was a free profession, but it was not totally free. If I committed professional misconduct, the Bar Council could suspend my license or cancel my license. Doctors, private doctors have a free profession, but if they commit medical misconduct, the medical council can suspend or cancel the license. Similarly, chartered accountant. So every profession, every activity has to be subject to reasonable restrictions. Media people often claim that we should not be restricted. The whole world should be under reasonable restriction, but how is that acceptable? As a Supreme Court judge, I was independent, not subject to the government. And yet, if I had started taking bribes, I could be impeached by Parliament and thrown out. So my freedom was not absolute. Every freedom has to be subject to reasonable restrictions in the interest of society. So also must media freedom. You see, I draw a distinction between restriction and control. I am against control. In control there is no freedom. In restriction or regulation, I am in favor of regulation, not control. In regulation, there is freedom of the media, but it is subject to reasonable restrictions. You can't use your freedom of the media to defame people. You see, a person's reputation is a valuable asset to him. Supposing a false news is spread about you that you are a thief, you are a crook, then your own friends and relatives may start avoiding you. Nobody will come near you if your reputation spread that you are a crooked person. So a person's reputation is a valuable asset. It is an intangible asset, not like a piece of property, but it is a valuable asset, and therefore it should not be readily damaged. I had a case as chairman of the press council. We adjudicate on complaints. In the state of Madhya Pradesh, there was one president of the BJP of some district in Madhya Pradesh, I forget which was it. He filed a criminal complaint before the press council. in which he alleged that some Hindi newspaper in Madhya Pradesh had published in its newspaper that we have got a CD showing this politician sleeping naked with a woman who was not his wife. And he alleged that this was totally false. So we issued notice to that newspaper, and when their representative came before the press council adjudicates matters also, I asked him that you say that you have published this on the basis of a CD you have got showing this man sleeping naked with a woman who was not his wife. Did you send this CD for forensic test to find out whether it is genuine or fake or morphed? Because CDs can be faked also. He said, no, we didn't. I said, then you did something wrong. I can understand if this man has genuinely committed some grave misconduct, you publish news against him, but then you have to verify. So media must act responsibly. Before publishing something, you must deeply investigate. But nowadays, often, particularly the electronic media, the television and all, just to get TRP, high TRP rating, they are only interested in making profits, and they show sensational things. When I became chairman of the press council, I would see on the television very often that if some bomb blast or some terroristic act took place anywhere in India, within 1 hour a scroll would start coming on many TV channels that we have received an SMS or email that Indian Mujahideen have claimed responsibility, or Jaish-e-Mohammed have claimed responsibility, or Harkat-ul-Jihad have claimed responsibility, some Muslim name. Now an email or SMS can be sent by any mischievous person without investigating whether this is fake or genuine. You are showing it on your TV screens. What message are you sending? Are you not sending a subtle message that all Muslims are terrorists and have nothing to do except throw bombs? And therefore, are you not demonizing an entire religious community in this country? And therefore, are you not spreading communalism in this country by this? Is this not an irresponsible act? You don't even verify whether the email or SMS is genuine or false. You just want sensationalism. Breaking news, immediately masala, which we call it Hindi, you want some masala, some sensation, not caring how much damage you may be to some person or to some community. See, unfortunately, media has mostly been taken over by these corporates. And these corporates, these big corporations, it appears, have given directions to the editors of the TV channel or the newspaper. Don't publish the real issues, or just touch upon them very nominally, but divert attention of the people from the real issues to non-issues. The real issues in India are massive poverty, massive unemployment. 10 million youth in India are entering the job market every year. But only 500,000 jobs are being created every year in the organized sector of the economy. So where do the other 9.5 million go? They become hawkers, vendors, bouncers, stingers, criminals, beggars, prostitutes, suicides. There's massive prostitution in India. Not that a girl enjoys it, but because of poverty, to fill her stomach. You people are going to face the problem of unemployment when you finish your law course. How many jobs are there? This is the real issue. I read in the in UP there were some job 30-40 jobs of PNs, chaprasi, PN, and there were 25 lakh applications, and many of them of engineering student, MSc, MBA, some PhDs, begging for a job of a chaprasi. This is one of the realities of India. Massive unemployment, massive malnourishment. The official figures are that almost half of our children are malnourished. They don't get proper food to eat. And you know, if a child at a tender age does not get proper nourishment, then his physical and mental growth may be retarded. All his life he may be stunted physically and mentally. Half of our children are suffering from malnourishment. UNICEF report, United Nations report, has said that 1 out of every 3 malnourished child in the world is an Indian child. Every 10 minutes, a pregnant woman is dying because of lack of medical care. These are the realities of India. Then health care. Poor people cannot afford to go to doctors. There are some very good state-of-the-art hospitals, but only the rich or powerful can go there. How many people can go to Fortis or Max or Apollo or which are these other famous hospitals? But they are very expensive. So what do the poor people do? They go to quacks. Quackery is rampant in India. The number of quacks would be several times the number of doctors, because the poor man can't go to doctor. The government hospitals are no good. They are dirty, filthy, nobody bothers about them. The private clinics are good, but they are very expensive. The poor man cannot afford it. So there's total lack of healthcare in India. You go to Delhi and go to the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, one of the premier institutes supposedly in India. And it looks like a railway station. There are thousands of people sitting there, sick people, nobody cares for them. The recent dengue episode, also in your Bangalore, nobody cares for the poor, many people die. This is the reality of India. Farmers' suicide. Lakhs of farmers have committed suicide. In your state of Karnataka, I was told, large number, thousands of farmers have committed suicide, but your media will not publish it. Deliberately. Because the owners have given, maybe not written but oral instruction, don't publish the real issues. Publish that Kareena Kapoor is having an affair with somebody, or so-and-so film star is involved with so-and-so man. Lives of film stars, cricket, whether India has beaten Sri Lanka is the important issue. Poverty is not important. Unemployment is not important. Hunger is not important. Lack of healthcare is not important. What is important is whether India has beaten Sri Lanka in a cricket match, whether Katrina Kaif is going to marry so-and-so. This is important. Look at the mischief the media is doing in this country. Sheena murder on the television screen for 2 weeks, nothing. One murder and you are making such a hue and cry. Lakhs of farmers are committing suicide. That is irrelevant. And one Sheena murder, from morning till night, your television screen was showing.